This is a video for beginners on how to improve the spinal mobility. I'll be taking you through a step-by-step guide on how to move the spine in each part, starting from the pelvis, lower back, mid back, and the upper back. Of course, you say pelvis is not part of the spine. Well, it is not in terms of the anatomical part, but it is in terms of movement, because there is no way we can move the spine without moving the pelvis and vice versa. So we'll be moving the pelvis, the lower back, the mid back, and the upper back, dissecting each movement, and overall, it's the best way to start on how to learn to improve our spinal mobility. We're going to begin to move the pelvis. So you're going to stand with your legs slightly wider than hip width apart and keep the knees soft, bending a little bit from the hip joints. And then from here, you're going to thrust your thighs and your hips forward, basically allowing the pelvis to roll back. In this case, it is posteriorly tilted. And do the opposite. Stick out your pelvis or your buttock, and in this case, it will be anteriorly tilted, okay? Let's move a little bit more this way first. Going through a posterior tilt and an anterior tilt. Posterior tilt and an anterior tilt again. And from here, when you go to a posterior tilt of your pelvis again, feel your hips opening up. And here, as you go to an anterior tilt, feel like your sits bones or your pelvis are kind of like opening up to the back. Again, just a couple more times. You got to be comfortable doing this because it's the beginning of all pelvic and spinal movement here. And from here, just come back up to standing. Now you can stand with your legs slightly wider than hip width apart if you feel tight doing the movement as you did just now, all right? And then from here, you're going to, again, bring your pelvis into a deep posterior tilt, anterior tilt, and from here, slowly start to curl your belly button in. Your tailbone is going to the front, pelvis rolling back, and then now you're in a posterior tilt. Repeat. Going, anterior tilt, slowly rolling the pelvis into a posterior tilt. Anterior tilt, slowly rolling it to a posterior tilt. Again, just do 2 more times here. And 1 more. And slowly come back up. All right, now if you feel a bit awkward doing that just now, don't be, because movements and mobility happens a lot around our center, which is our pelvis and hips region. If we don't have mobility here, this part of our body won't be able to do its job as a force transmitter. And therefore, if this part is congested, we won't have more mobility in other parts, and that's where people get into lower back pain or knee pain, okay? So let's repeat that. Tilting posteriorly, anteriorly. Couple more times. And then from here, start to curl, bringing your belly button in. And now you are posteriorly tilted, bringing your pelvis to an anterior tilt and curl. Again, doing consecutively. Not thinking too much. You can even feel like you're going in a little bit of a circular motion here from front to back and back to front. Essentially, we are. Because we are arching the pelvis back a little bit before curling it to the front. And in switching from your anterior tilted pelvis to your posterior tilted pelvis, we have to move in this direction. And a couple more times. And release. So we have then worked on pelvic movement and bringing the lower back along, which is great because we are giving our lower back length. We are also bringing the hips in a flexion position and extended position. So it's really good for this region. So if you've been sitting a lot all day in the office, this is a very good antidote, and I hope you feel some nice, comfortable feeling now. And we're going to start to move up to our mid-spine. So from here, we're going to repeat the movement from the pelvis. We're going to anteriorly tilt and posteriorly tilt, bringing the lower back along. And this time, making your movement a little bit bigger. Essentially now, it's looking more and more like a wave. This way, curling it in and arching it back. Curling it in and arching it back. Bringing it up to our mid-back, which is around our diaphragm level. And a couple more times here. Now, if you are getting into the rhythm of it, let's just continue by bringing the movement all the way up to our upper back here. So this is going to be a big rippling motion, a much bigger wave. Make sure you really bring the pelvis back here and curling it in. The pelvis will lead the spine. Again, anteriorly tilted and posteriorly tilted, and the spine's just following along. So you find yourself going up and down in this motion a little bit more now. And a couple more times. Slowly. Last time here, and come back up. You'll find that when we start moving the spine, it will start to resemble more and more like a snake. Yes, and why not? Because essentially, if you look at any diagram, our spine does have a snake-like structure because it's meant to be mobile, okay? So if you ever have a stiff spine, we need to do something about it. Make it mobile. Let's end with this movement where we will integrate the arms with the spinal and pelvic mobility moves. So from here, you're going to circle, brush your arm up as you do the mobility work we did just now. Bring your arms back and bringing your pelvis into a posterior tilt. And slowly curl your pelvis and lower back in and bring your arms to the front. Don't think too much about it. Just let it flow through. If you don't get the direction right, it's absolutely fine. We are just moving the arms in the shoulder joints alongside the spinal and pelvic joints here. So let's do 8 consecutive times. One more. and release. So this is all I have this time for spinal mobility for beginners. It also includes, of course, pelvic mobility. Do take it one step at a time and slowly find your own mobility moves in each part of your spine, working your way up all the way to your upper back. So very important thing is we need to feel we are working at our own pace. Don't try to rush it because the spine does take some time to respond. Most of all, we need to allow it. So let our minds go and don't say, this is not a typical exercise. Why am I doing this? Yes, it doesn't make you sweat buckets, but it works on the joints. Again, micro movements are so important because they all sum up to a nice big macro movements when each part is released. So that's all I have for this time here. Thank you so much if you're still with me up to this point. Thank you for staying with me to the end, for your participation. And if you like more videos like that, do check out my other tutorial videos on core as well as full body mobility workout. I'll leave a link in the description box below and make any comments you like. And of course, ask me any questions. I'll love to hear from you. That's it for this time. Keep moving, keep getting better because that's how it is with our body. And like and subscribe. I'll see you again very soon in the next video. Movement has been my form of self-care for over 20 years. And I want to show you how you too can move and take better care of yourself every day.